Well, I'll try to have thoughts. I can't promise you. I'm not gonna lie. I think my brain's been a little broken for the past few months. So you're gonna get, I don't know what you're gonna get today. I hope it's good.
Okay.
I feel like I have no control over what you get.
This episode of Off My Shelf contains coarse language and adult conversation. Listener discretion is advised.
Hello, my name is Trace James, and welcome to Off My Shelf, a podcast about movies that are well off my shelf, where we go through my DVDs and talk about the movies in my collection. In this episode, Emma Yim joins me in talking about young women finding their place in the world with Little Miss Sunshine and a Little Princess.
Women.
Women.
Could not help myself. I'm sorry. This is. I would just like to say as a disclaimer, I have joined this episode because it's the closest I would get to Little Women.
It is.
That's all I have to say. I could probably talk about that movie for 3 hours.
Just about as long as the movies actually are. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, I would just be reading the script.
Wait, which one though? Isn't there like 4 versions of Little Women?
2019. With Greta Gerwig.
Okay.
My favorite movie of all time. And I am so upset that you do not have it on your shelf. I want to buy it so that we can just talk about it. But anyways, this will do. Okay. This will have to do.
Well, I have to admit, I stopped buying DVDs way before 2019. So I definitely will not have that. And not even like the older version either with like Winona Ryder and stuff. Because, I mean, I get why people like Little Women. Like I get why people like the written story. I get why people like the movies.
Mm-hmm.
But it's kind of it's fine.
Well, thanks for having me, Tracy. It's been a great time with you. No.
Thank you for joining me today.
You're welcome. See you, folks. But no, seriously, I did join because this is the closest I would get to talking about Little Women.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway,
because there's Little Women in both of these movies with little in the title.
Precisely.
Done. See, we're great. We're great. Yes. Okay, so before we get started, I know you said it'll take you 3 hours to talk about this, like the movie Little Women, but give me like a short version. Why do you like that movie so much?
Okay, everyone who listens to this now is going to immediately think I have not seen the movie. Okay, I guess in short, I just have never had such a visceral reaction to a movie. Like I saw it in theaters, 2019. And when I came out of the theater, I remember just feeling so nauseous. And I know that makes it sound like I did not enjoy the movie, but it wasn't even that. It was just like, oh my gosh, I couldn't believe. Is this a spoiler alert? Like, do spoiler alerts exist for Little Women? No,
I don't think so. No, it's a work that's been around since what, the 1800s?
Yeah,
the late 1800s. Yeah.
So people have
and
had
there's
some time.
been 4 film remakes of it. Yeah. So I think you're good.
So it's their fault at this point.
Yes.
Okay. Then no spoiler warning. I'm just gonna dive right in. So when Laurie ends up with Amy, so I hadn't read the book before, so I didn't know that was gonna happen.
Okay.
But I remember when that happened, I just felt so sick to my stomach. I was like, I could not believe that this was happening. And I went home and I literally I woke up in a cold sweat after falling asleep. And I just thought about, Laurie and Amy. Like, I don't know why that relationship just affected me so much.
Mm-hmm.
And not even in a bad way, just in a very, again, visceral way. Like, I don't think I felt so much from just a movie, you know? So
hold on.
Yeah.
So you had never seen a previous iteration of Little
No,
Women?
I hadn't.
Oh, okay.
But actually, if past me, 2018 me was listening to this, she would be mad because that would be a spoiler alert.
Yes.
I knew literally nothing about Little Women going into that movie.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So I guess maybe that's the difference. I had at least seen the 1994, I want to say. That
or is correct.
Yes.
Unless it's not, then edit that, please. So I sound
okay. So that version of Little Women I had previously seen. And again, It was fine. I didn't lose my mind over it or anything.
Mm-hmm.
And I was right. It was 1994. Oh, and Christian Bale's in it.
I was right too.
Anyways, but like it was fine. I didn't really get, and then I saw this version of it, except for I don't remember any of the characters' names. I remember the actors' names, but when Florence Pugh burnt the novel she was writing,
Amy,
I got so angry though.
Yes, absolutely.
And I love what is it, Bob Odenkirk?
Yes,
but when he showed up as the dad, I couldn't stop laughing.
Yeah, me neither, because I thought it was like a Breaking Bad crossover all of a sudden. That's all I could see.
I don't know, like, because I'm used to him either in Breaking Bad or as Better Call Saul.
Yeah.
Or the other thing was he did pure comedy before all of that, right?
Yeah. SNL.
So I was just like, I was like, is this going to break into a skit? Like, is he going to start laughing out of nowhere? Yeah. Like, what is going to happen? And then the movie was finished, and I was like, oh, it's Little Women. That was it. So I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, you know, those are some good thoughts too. Some good thoughts. but yeah, I don't know. I have never felt so much from a movie. And I think that's why it's my favorite movie. Mm-hmm. Also, Saoirse Ronan's speech, Joe's speech, like when she's like crying to her mom about like, oh, you know, like women are so much more than like beauty, and like they can, or it's like women are like, okay, clearly it didn't make that much of an impression on me, but like it's something about like, yeah, the women can be beautiful, blah, 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 but there's, you know, they're meant for so much more than like love and, you know, romance. And then she says like, oh, but I'm so lonely. And I was like, oh yeah, that, yeah. I had that quote on my computer for a while. I just couldn't get enough of it. I was like, I can't believe someone has just like taken these words that I've always felt but never knew how to express and just put it right there, like so succinctly, so beautifully. Oh, love it.
Yeah, but I think that's especially one of the biggest problems with a lot of movies out there that people complain about, that like all the women characters are one-dimensional, like they're there for the man, totally. You know, whereas you have a movie like Little Women where it's all about women who actually have dimensionality and have personalities and have goals.
Yeah,
and they go out and do stuff, right?
Yeah.
So like, as I said, I understand why people like it. I just don't think it's as great as people say it is. That's all.
All right. At a loss for words. Ooh. But you know what? It's okay. Yeah. We can agree to disagree.
Yeah.
You know, like it's okay to be wrong sometimes. I think it's important that, you know, when you're wrong, you know it at least. So like that's fine. You can know that you're wrong. I can know that I'm right, and we can be happy in like our respective situations, you know.
Indeed.
I'm good with mine.
I love that we're not in the same room, so I can't fight you, but it's okay.
Oh, I have deliberately planned it that way.
Oh, gotcha. Just out of the gate reason. Immediately.
Yeah, yes, for good reason. So I can understand why you don't have Little Women on your shelf now. Yeah. But if I ever come over, do not be alarmed if you find it mysteriously on your shelf.
Well, I do suggest you at least go and have a look at the 1994 version just to see like the differences. And oh, you did.
I did.
And you
I watched
still prefer the 2019 version?
Yeah, I do.
I get it.
Yeah. But also I love Greta Gerwig as a writer, as a director. So I think I'm just biased at this point, if I'm being honest. But yeah, I just love 2019 Little Women. It's great.
That's totally fine.
If I did an off my shelf would just be like 26 copies of Little Women, and we just talk about Little Women every week. Like that's how much
So just for 1 year, your whole podcast is 1 year?
Yeah, of Little Women. Okay. We'll go like second by second. There's so much richness in literally every second.
Okay.
Okay.
Is each episode going to be like 10 minutes long? Like, I don't understand how this is going to work.
Hours.
Hours?
Yeah, wow. We're going to hours. It's what it deserves, I think.
Okay. Oh my God.
Okay, maybe we should talk about the movies that we did watch, huh?
I mean, to be honest, talking about Little Women and talking about how like women are for more than just, being pretty and falling in love and stuff. Little Princess and Little Miss Sunshine fully fall into that same kind of category, right? It's kind of about, Little Princess doesn't do it as well as Little Miss Sunshine, but they definitely try to get out there that, like little girls shouldn't be treated as these objects and for one purpose, or to be groomed for one purpose. They're allowed to be, different from each other. They're allowed to have different aspirations. They're allowed to have goals that they would like to achieve in their life, kind of thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And I think A Little Princess was written in the same time period as Little Women.
Like 1800s or something.
Yeah, the author was born, I think it was 1849, if I remember correctly. Yes, I did look this up before. This is not just stuff off the top of my head. Frances Hodgson Burnett. She was born in 1849. I'm not sure when the book was written though.
Well, gotta be sometime later than that then, I guess.
The book was published in 1905.
Okay. Oh, that's actually like a bit later than I thought.
Yeah, I actually thought it was before the turn of the century. And Little Women was published, in 1868. Yeah, much earlier, actually. So, I guess that kind of makes sense because, wait a second, does that make sense?
It doesn't, because it takes place during World War II in the movie.
It takes place during World War One.
Oh, one. Okay, sorry. I thought it was
World War
two.
One.
It's okay. We'll cut this out. People will never know.
Well, because you can tell because of the trench warfare and the gas warfare and stuff. And like I did find it interesting how it was really good at using like a parallel of the story the girl was telling. What is her name? Sarah. I should remember that name. I know several people named Sarah. The story Sarah was telling and the journey her father went through. I did enjoy that like nice parallel going through there. But my biggest problem with the movie overall was the fact that the actual like story within the like the girls' school or whatever was kind of very choppy as soon as she lost her money. Like it just sort of like was jumped all over the place. Like it had like a really good like nice solid movement setting up certain things, and then she lost the money and was shoved in the attic, and then it got all the story got very, very choppy after that for some reason. And like certain bonds that happened and certain interaction that happened just didn't make any sense because it got so choppy.
Do you have an example?
So like
on the spot, but...
so like her bond with the little girl upstairs, Becky, who I soon as I saw her, I was like, oh my god, that's the girl from the second Jurassic Park movie. That's hilarious. She plays the daughter.
I haven't seen Jurassic Park 2. Is that something I should admit, or should I take it back?
You've never seen Jurassic Park Lost World?
No. Should I take it back?
Oh my god. I think there's several people who are just going to turn off the episode now. They're like, this person has no idea what they're talking about.
I mean, realistically, after my whole Little Women rant, I'd be surprised if there's people still listening. So,
what are you talking about? Little Women, like I said, Little Women is a fine movie. It's fine.
Gosh, just fine. Oh dear.
But nothing beats dinosaurs, stomping around and eating people and stuff.
I mean, yeah, it's a good point.
It's true. Wait, you have seen Jurassic Park, though?
Yes, I'm not a animal. I'm not,
Okay, good.
I do live on planet Earth. Yes.
All right. We will let that slide then.
Okay.
I mean, Jurassic World was like Jurassic Park Lost World is very different from Jurassic World, guys. Very different.
Okay.
Both of them are not very good, so it's fine. It's totally fine.
Yeah, that's what I figure, whenever there's like a sequel or something for a classic movie like that, most like 9 times out of 10 just pretend it doesn't exist.
That is true.
I think
We'll do
life would be
that.
better that way, you know?
I mean,
So,
like you said, 9 out of 10. There
9 out of 10.
that like 10%. Oh,
Yeah.
there's some real doozies out there. They're so good.
yeah. Toy Story 2, Toy Story 3, Toy Story 4.
I'm gonna ignore those examples.
Do you not? Okay, all seriousness. You don't like Toy Story 2 to 4? 4, I can kind of understand. 2 to 3, though, you're a monster.
I am
You don't
not
like
a
2 to
big
3,
fan of Toy Story in general.
I think people are going to witness the live dissolving of our friendship. That's what this is going to be.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. This is not a secret. I have said this on here before, and other people have had the exact same reaction.
But do they have podcasts I can go on instead? Or
no, they come to my podcast where we have this argument. Okay, it's fine.
Okay. Wow, and I thought I was bad for not knowing Jurassic Park 2.
Yeah, but at least I've seen all the Toy Story movies.
Oh gosh, you've seen it, but you didn't just love it?
No.
Wow. Okay.
I am not a fan of any of the characters in the Toy Story movies. I think they're all assholes, and it bothers me.
All right.
Just saying.
I'm just gonna. I'll lower the volume when I say a controversial opinion, just to get ahead of it, you know.
Just to get ahead of it. Yeah.
I don't know how much more of this I can take.
Okay.
First, Little Women is fine. Then Toy Story. You don't even like Toy. Oh my gosh, Tracy, you're killing me here. Okay.
I love a lot of other Pixar movies. Don't get me wrong. Just don't like that one. Set.
All right.
It's fine.
Okay. I'm gonna stick to our plan of Little Princess and Little Miss Sunshine.
Anyways,
to protect our friendship.
Little Princess. Yes. So a choppy part that I was gonna bring up was the bond between Sarah and Becky. It seems to come out of nowhere, right? So I know when Sarah shows up, she like waves and tries to interact, but you know, Becky's not allowed to. That's fine. But then she gets upstairs, she's alone by herself, you know, can't do anything, not allowed to talk to anybody else. And then suddenly it's her birthday and Becky's just like, you know, those stories you tell and where it is and blah, 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 blah. But to our knowledge, Becky has never heard a story. They haven't really shown them interacting until after that point where they're like giggling in the kitchen and stuff. And you're just like, how did that, what? Like, you know, it's stuff like that where you're just, it just kind of comes out of nowhere.
Sorry, go
ahead.
Yeah, I do think, and I could be totally wrong, but my interpretation was that she knew about the stories because you remember we see her like listening at the door?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So that's how I thought she knew it. But you know what? Perhaps that isn't good enough.
Well, yeah, like I mean, technically you can piece together that part. Like it wasn't so egregious. You're just like, what the hell? Like, where does this they've never even met. Like it wasn't like that kind of egregious.
Yeah, wow.
But
I'd like to see that movie though. That sounds interesting to me.
Does that sound interesting?
That sounds so interesting.
You're just like an hour and 45 minutes. Becky walks in, you're like, you're my best friend. You're like, you are? What?
I think crazy. This sounds more like Little Women oh my gosh, please cut that. I'm so mad at myself. Little Princess 2, you know, the one that we're gonna ignore.
Little Princess Hubbaloo Boogaloo, like I don't know, it's fine.
Hubbaloo Boogaloo, I think. I think that was what it was called.
That sounds like a
1997.
I'd watch that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, me too. Direct to DVD.
Yeah. And also like the part at the very end of the movie where Becky goes off to live with Sarah and her father.
Yeah, that was weird.
Yeah, because the father has never met Becky, hasn't been told who Becky is.
No,
there's been no interaction. All of a sudden she's like, here, Becky, have a pretty dress and you're coming to live with us. Like, can you do that? Can you just steal a child? Like, I don't know. So
yeah.
And also,
I thought that was weird.
Yeah. And also at the school with like the mean lady gone and her sister run away with the milkman, who's taking care of the girls that are left at the school?
Wait, was her sister?
No, remember her
Amelia?
sister? The big girl who was in love with the milkman.
Yeah, that's Amelia. That was the sister to Miss Minchin.
Yeah, she ran away with the milkman.
No, like I know she ran away with the milkman, but I just didn't know they were sisters.
Yeah.
This whole time.
Yeah, her name is Amelia Minchin.
Is she really?
They're sisters.
Oh, I think I like
they
blacked
say
out for like half a second while I was watching
in the movie. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I blacked out during that one instance. Because I do not have any recollection of that.
Yeah. They say that right when they meet her. So Amelia meets them at the door, and when they're showing them through the school.
Yeah.
And then she's like, oh, my sister is going to be down in a minute. And then Miss Minchin comes downstairs. Yeah.
Okay, maybe I was just bored.
Yeah, that's probably
I think I was just bored. Okay, anyways. Yeah, that's a good point though. Who's taking care of the kids? You know what? I think the one time I actually laughed in the whole movie though was at the end when Miss Minchin is now working for that little boy that she got to like Chimney Soup, and then she's like to him, when do I get my break or whatever? Did you like my impression?
Yeah, that was spot on.
Spot on. It was like Miss Minchin was with us, you know?
Yes, definitely.
But yeah, she's just asking this kid like when she gets to take her break, and I just laughed. That to me was, I don't know, just hilarious. I loved it.
But also like I don't understand when she would have got the job with the little kid. Shouldn't she have been arrested by the cops? Like, yeah. There's a lot of things.
Why would that kid even hire her? Also, how can that kid even hire her?
Yeah.
I think we're thinking about this way too hard.
Yeah. I absolutely agree with you. Yes.
Okay, cool.
But like, but there's a certain point in life where you see something or it just triggers in your brain. You're like, that doesn't actually make sense.
Yeah.
Just,
you know what? I think 90% of the movie doesn't make sense. So I think it's best watched if you just suspend literally all disbelief. Every single disbelief.
I think quite a bit of it does make sense.
Does it though?
Yes. Okay. What doesn't make sense to you?
The amnesia.
Okay.
I don't know any form of amnesia that is suddenly gone after a hug. I don't know. Maybe a hug's a cure. I don't know.
Yeah, but
I have no idea.
Isn't it one of those things where like amnesia usually gets triggered by something familiar, and he's in a place he wasn't familiar with, but then he finally interacts with somebody who's important to him, who's familiar with. So then it took a second, but it came back. I don't know. You are put. There's so many movies out there that you have just ruined. Okay, by like amnesia. That's crazy.
Yeah. I think the only movie I've seen that has amnesia is Finding Nemo. And I guess to be fair, that's more like short-term memory loss. But I suppose that's what he had as well.
You've never seen 50 First Dates?
No.
Oh, wow. You've never seen Overboard, both of them?
No.
Yeah, that movie has not aged well. It's
I think
kind of wrong.
Just whatever movie you're thinking of, my answer is no.
Okay.
I've only seen Finding Nemo and Finding Dory.
Okay.
And I think people are going to think I only watch Pixar movies. And honestly, that's pretty true.
I mean, I've watched all the Pixar movies, including all the shorts.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
You should definitely like watch other things. There's good stuff out there.
Yeah.
They're hard to find, but they're good. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I should probably watch a movie.
Yeah.
I think so. I should watch a movie.
Also, like 50 First Dates is like, it's a strong word to say it's a good movie, but you'll get a laugh or two in there. It's fine.
Okay.
Yes.
I mean, 2 laughs. That's like double than what I got from A Little Princess. So,
yes.
That's amazing. That sounds amazing. Okay. And my laugh came at the very end, and I don't know if it was out of relief or joy. So
yeah, you're like, it's over.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. I don't want to bash on it too much because, in all honesty, it was like a fine movie. Mm-hmm. And I did get invested towards the end when I'm like, oh yeah, the dad's still alive, and I wanted, I was all for their reunion. I was like waiting for that moment. But just overall, I don't know. I don't know if it was like, was it just like that time period of filmmaking, or like from when the story was made in like the early 1900s, like the story was just like so like kind of boring to me though overall. I don't know.
Yeah.
I was just like it felt like a fairy tale, which
I think
aren't-
I think it's supposed to.
yeah.
Yeah. It's told from the point of Sarah.
Yeah.
And in her mind, you know, the world is a fairy tale or can be a fairy tale.
Mhm.
Because she has, until the point where she gets everything stripped from her, her life kind of was a fairy tale. She was rich. She was living in an exotic land of India. Ooh, you know, spices and colors.
Yeah.
And, you know, she's like learned their folk tales, and she's learned this very positive aspect of life because she really hasn't had hardships in her life. And don't get me wrong, I don't think Miss Minchin should beat hardship into someone's life. That's not what her job is or what anybody should do to someone else.
Yeah.
But because Sarah's life has been so good until that point, you know, her world is a fairy tale. And I think that's why it's presented so, it's very hyper colored and it's very, you know, wistful and it's very happy and all that kind of stuff because of that.
Yeah. That's fair. I mean, yeah, that's fair. And if I think about it, it is in my top 3 Alfonso Cuarón movies. So that being said, I've seen 4, but it's in my top 3. So I guess.
Wait, which one's at the bottom then?
Can you guess?
No.
You know what? His filmography is actually shorter than I thought it would be.
Yes.
But I guess he goes for quality over quantity, you know?
Yeah, some people do. I was definitely very shocked when his name showed up on the screen at the end. I was just like, wait, what?
I know.
That's a name I recognize. Oh my God.
Yeah.
I want to say Yi tu mama bien. I can never say that correct. Is at the bottom.
I am flattered that you think I even saw that movie. That's
okay.
So amazing. Thank you, Tracy. I feel like I am so cultured. Look at this. No, I have not even seen that.
I did. One of his I haven't seen is Roma.
And that's my bottom pick.
Oh, that's your bottom pick. Okay. That's the Oscar one though.
I know, which like I feel like I'm definitely wrong. Because I'm pretty sure it was like nominated for, you know, best everything, if that's a category.
Yeah, but that doesn't make it good, I find, because I find a lot of movies nominated for Oscars. I'm just like, really? It's so boring. Like, nothing happens. Yeah.
And yeah, that's how I felt about Roma. Like, I just couldn't get into it, you know? I just couldn't get into it. It's my least favorite movie he's ever made. But I can't even put my finger on what it is, because there is a movie this year that was also nominated for like a bunch of Oscars called Belfast.
Yep.
If you know that one, Kenneth Branagh.
Yeah, I didn't watch it either. I have no interest in watching that movie, no matter how good people might say it could possibly be.
Okay, I'm going to tell you how good it possibly could be, because I actually love that movie. And it didn't occur to me until like a couple weeks later when I was reading reviews. I saw someone had written like, oh, this is like a lighter, cuter Roma. And I was like, oh my gosh, it is. And I like loved this movie, but I just did not like Roma. So I don't know. I don't even know what it is about that movie that I didn't like. Like, it does deal with like some heavy topics, you know, and maybe like, I don't know what it is. But all that to say, it's my 4th pick for Alfonso Cuarón movies. Number 1, obviously, Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. Got to give him credit where credit is due. I'm going to cut the conversation right there because I don't think I can take hearing other comments about it right now. But
as I make this maniacal laughing face at her, she knows I'm going to say something horrible.
Yep.
So I'm just
let's just move on.
We're good.
Let's move on.
We're good.
Oh, Gravity's number 2, though. Love Gravity.
Children of Men is number 1 for me.
Okay, I haven't seen
Children of Men.
I do hear
highly
great
recommend
things about it.
Yeah.
Is that on your shelf?
It is not. No. And if it was, I would have been past it already. So it's fine.
Okay, fair enough.
Yes.
All right, but yeah, I can't take it. Let's go.
Okay.
Let's move forward. Up and onward.
Let's keep swimming. Indeed.
You have seen Finding
Yes.
Nemo.
Of course I've seen Finding Nemo. Who wouldn't watch Finding Nemo? That
I
is
know.
like one of the greatest movies ever.
Okay.
Yes.
You're winning me a little bit back from your devastating Toy Story point of view. But
Yes. Oh,
you're
like I
slowly
said,
winning.
I love Pixar movies. I just
Gosh.
hate Toy Story. There's a
All
difference.
right, keep going. Press
Okay.
on.
Something else I noticed while watching this movie is Lavinia, as I put in
Mhm.
brackets in my notes, the bitchy one. She played little Lucy McLean in the first Die Hard movie. She has one line. It says, "Come home." That's it.
Aw.
Yes.
Was that over the phone?
No, it was on. She was being interviewed by a reporter.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I think I do remember that.
Mhm.
Okay.
Oh wait, you've seen Die Hard?
Yes, I've seen Die Hard. I live on
Okay.
planet Earth. Have we established
you.
this?
I don't know. I have said like 20 movies and you've seen 2, so I'm confused here. Okay.
I have seen every single movie except for the movies I haven't seen, and that I stand by that. Stand by it.
Yes, I am that way as well. Yes. Let's put it
Okay,
that
cool.
way. Okay. So okay, I'll put this out here just so that you don't feel as bad.
Okay.
So you know
Please
the Godfather movies?
Uh-huh.
I have never watched them.
Like, I kind of feel better,
Okay.
like a little bit, because I have seen one, but I think I only watched like half of the second.
Mm-hmm.
And I also just got bored. So
Okay.
I think the problem is we're both just wrong. Or like we're both on the incorrect side.
I
Just
don't know,
like-
man.
Or maybe we're the only people who are right. Let's spin it that way, you know?
Or maybe it isn't about being right or about being wrong. It is
always about being right or wrong. Haven't you seen
What?
Little Miss Sunshine? Winners
Oh
and
my God.
losers.
Oh God.
Okay.
Oh, I have so much to say about that whole thing.
yeah.
Oh my God. It like I don't know why, but it was triggering me while I was watching it. I was just like, oh. But I think that's also part of the reason why the movie is so good, because if somebody can act a certain way that triggers you like that,
yeah.
that means they're doing a really good job at what they're doing. So yes.
I mean, you know what? Sarah, I think inadvertently triggered me when she was like in her like Little Miss Perfect phase,
Mhm.
you know? Like that just bothered me so much. I was like, she's literally just like a doll,
Yes. Yeah.
like in every way.
Mhm.
She had zero flaw, you know, she was just like this perfect little thing. And I think like because of that, I just didn't care as much about her. Like even when she lost the money, I was like, yeah, I guess that's sad, but it's like, I don't know, she's still kind of a perfect kid.
Well, I found the character because of that. She was a boring character.
Yes.
Right.
And maybe that's why the story was kind of boring too. It's just like,
yeah.
But
like, I think the thing that makes it an interesting story is the fact that she doesn't lose like her innocence or her way of thinking just because she's in a bad situation. Yeah, she cries a little bit because she's a child and things are hard, and you know, kids can't process things the same way adults can. Fine. But even up until that point, you know, even like the night, like they were hungry and they're like, oh, I can at least pretend there's food and there's a banquet. Even though I sat there thinking, I'm like, if I pretended there was food and I wasn't eating anything, I'd be more hungry.
I know, that's exactly what I thought. I was like, these kids are dumb.
But she kept that like positive nature to herself. She didn't turn mean. She didn't get angry. She didn't try to retaliate, really. She just found the fun in things, and she still, you know, after Becky was just like, hey, tell us some stories again. She told stories again, blah, 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 blah. Even though the whole movie, she said she told one story the whole movie, but.
I know, she told like 2 seconds of a story.
Yeah.
And then all her other stories were just like 2 more seconds of that story. Like, I don't know. She's getting a lot of credit as a storyteller.
Right?
A lot of credit.
Switch it up a little bit. I did enjoy the the visuals of like that story world though, except for like the CGI monster was hideous.
Oh,
but
sorry,
like
that is the ugliest. I know it was 1995. Please do not come for me. But it is still like one of the ugliest animation sequences I think I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
So I think for that it deserves a little bit of recognition.
A little bit of recognition,
yeah. It's a superlative in my life.
Yeah.
So,
but to be honest, but the sets and like the colors and how they differentiated that world from like the world they were actually in was very pretty until the CGI monster shows up. Then you're like, ugh, nobody wants that.
That CGI reminded me of, if you've ever been to like a Chuck E. Cheese or something along those lines, there's like this attraction where you like lie down and it like gives you the experience of a roller coaster because there's like a screen that shows like a roller coaster and like the thing, like the chair will like move, but obviously you're not like actually on a roller coaster, spoiler alert. But the CGI they use for that is like the most hideous, ugliest CGI rendering I use loosely. I don't think they actually rendered the thing. I think they just slapped it in there like I've ever seen. And I think they could use that monster for one of those rides. No difference. No difference. Same thing. The exact same thing.
Well, the thing at Chuck E. Cheese was probably rendered in 1995 too, when they just kept using it. It's fine.
You're right. And again, I know it was 1995. It was still ugly. Those things can coexist, people.
That is very true. That is very true. I love looking at Jurassic Park did not come out far after this, and that CGI looks way better, and this aged quite well. But it just like blows my mind at like we've gotten already so used to this like real quality in things that even looking at things like 5 years ago or even 10 years ago is just like, what kind of garbage were we looking at? But this is almost 30 years ago, and you're just like, what? Look at all the what do they call it? Look at all the like the polyhedrals or whatever when you have like the flat sides. It's fine. I don't know jargon.
That is what they call it. That is totally fair. I saw a clip from Ice Age not too long ago. I thought it was incomplete. I thought that movie looks like they just released it. Like they were only half done and they released it.
Yeah, nope.
Because then you get to something like Soul. The way he plays piano, Joe plays, oh my gosh, that's a real hand playing piano.
Yeah.
And you know what? We're going to look at this in like 30 years and look at that and be like, oh, that was hideous.
It's true. Yeah. Well, I mean, even like you were talking about Toy Story, you did say 2 to 5. Yes. But 2 to 4, sorry. 4. But even if you look at like the first Toy Story movie now, it is so ugly. Like it is so ugly to look at. Like it is unpleasant. It's just wrong. Yeah.
You know, I think it was quite nice. It was pretty like, advanced for its time.
Okay,
I'm trying to get a Toy Story sponsorship here, but no, but I do have to agree. Like Andy, if you notice, they had like one model for a little boy and it was Andy. And then all the kids at his party were also Andy. Did you notice that?
I haven't watched it in a while, so probably I'm not gonna be surprised at that at all. Yes.
Yeah. So it was just Andy and 5 other Andys, and they all looked disgusting. Like, yeah. No, I agree. The humans particularly were just not it.
Yeah, that's like I find especially when you go back to like animated films, like because even if you go back to Finding Nemo, the fish looks good, the water looks good, but then you see like the humans, like the dentist and like Darla and stuff, and you look at their faces and you're just like, that is not the same level of realism in any way, shape, or form. And like it still works in the animated world and everything, but when you think about it, you're just like, you just couldn't get a face right, could you? So you just kind of blended it, made it as like simple as possible and put it out there. Gotcha. They spent too much time on like the water effects.
Yeah, which makes sense. It is, Finding Nemo.
Yeah, they spent like 95% of the time underwater. Yeah.
Yeah, like imagine like it was the reverse and they spent like 95 times on like Darla and like no time on the ocean. The ocean just looks like blue spaghetti or something. Like that would have been so much worse. So you know what? I think they knew what they were doing.
Yeah. I think they did it right. They did it right. I'm okay with it. Yeah.
Me too. Okay, so I know we want to talk about Little Miss Sunshine, but I feel like as much I feel like I bashed on A Little Princess a little much. I will say there was one moment in the film where I was like, this is representation. This is exactly who I am and how I feel.
Where?
And you know what that moment was?
What?
In the math classroom when that little girl is asked what 7 times 8 is. And she says 54. I'm not gonna lie, I almost cried tears of joy. Because there is always something about 7 times 8 that gets me. I don't know what it is. But something about 7 times 8, my brain goes, must be 54. It must be. And I've been like this forever and nothing can solve me.
Isn't that 6 times 9?
Yes. Yes, I can do quick math. But yeah, 7 times 8, it's weird. You know, it's like 7 times 7 makes so much sense to my brain. I was like, that is 49. I've never seen something that is more 49 than 7 times 7. You know what I mean?
Sure. I'm going to say sure.
Like, even like 7 times 9, like a good 63, that my brain can compute that.
Okay.
But we get to 7 times 8 and it's like my brain just like explodes. It just can't comprehend that it's 54. See, I genuinely almost said it was 54. Like it can't understand that it's 56.
Yeah.
So all that to say, that was the one moment in the movie.
But what a really easy way to remember it is that since you know for sure 7 times 7 is 49, you just add 7. That would be 56.
Like, I know that should make sense, but it's like when you're called on by the teacher, what's 7 times 8?
Yeah, your brain empties.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's not even that my brain will empty. It's just my brain will think it's 54, no matter what. I've tried everything. There's no cure.
Okay.
I felt very represented in that moment. So I did enjoy that.
Okay.
Yeah, that's all I really have to say about that movie, though.
I'm glad you saw yourself in there.
Thank you. Yeah, yes. We need more like people who are bad at math representation, I think.
Wait, isn't that like
enough?
But isn't that like every movie with a little girl because math is hard and we should give up on it automatically and just want to be pretty all the time?
Like I've said, I have not seen a movie. So, this one that I saw, I did feel represented. And I think all future movies should include like a scene where someone's bad at math just to like, get it out there.
Have you never seen a high school movie?
I've seen Good Will Hunting.
That is college/university. That does not count.
Also, I lied. I haven't seen Good Will Hunting. I do know what it's about, though. I do know what it's about, and I don't feel represented. Okay. And that's all I can say about that.
Well, because it's about a smart guy from Boston.
Yeah, come on. Like, I relate more to this girl in World War I, who when she is asked what 7 times 8 is, can only say 54. Like, that is me.
See, I'm just happy that you found a connection.
Thank you.
Made it through all of this. That's what was necessary. Yes.
Thank you.
See, it makes us all feel,
Yeah, so that was the highlight for me in that movie. And now that I'm like saying this and like thinking about this movie, like, is it possible to take movies off your shelf or
should it be removed? Just throw it out. It's just over. Like, what?
All I'm saying is I don't think it's a big deal if that happens, if it falls off your shelf.
I don't know. I like the reason why it's there is because it was one of those movies I really liked as a little kid. And then of course I did that like, oh my God, it's Little Princess. It's like $5 and I bought it. And then I would have watched it at least once or twice.
$5 is $4 too much.
Oh, wow.
No, I'm sorry. I'm just kidding. Also, if Alfonso Cuarón is listening, you have to know how much I enjoyed Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. And I'm going to leave it there. Okay, let's move on. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Since we're gonna just skip over things now.
Yes, we absolutely are.
Let's go to Little Miss Sunshine. As I said, it triggered me at certain points, but I still really like this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would like, you took the words out of my mouth. That's perfect.
Yeah.
I agree with everything you said.
I said like 6 words. Like, I don't know.
Those were the perfect 6 words to describe this movie. But no, I also, I think this was like a surprise like movie for me, because I had watched it in the past, and before I had watched it for the first time, I went into it with like no expectations. And when it was over, I was like, oh my gosh, I think that might be like one of my like top 10 favorite movies of all time, like definitely behind the Toy Stories, definitely behind Finding Nemo, definitely behind Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, but it's there, it's on that list.
It's in there somewhere mixed in.
It is.
Okay.
But no, it was genuinely like, it's just genuinely such a good movie. I feel like it is one of those movies that probably, if you're trying to learn how to make a movie or how to write a story or characters, like it might be like an example that the professor brings up. It just felt so tight in its writing, in its story, in its characterizations. Like everything just felt so intentional and felt so deliberate. So like, I don't know, it just made for a good viewing experience, because like there was no wasted moment in that movie. Like everything is like there.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with what you're saying, but I find it doesn't feel deliberate. It felt effortless. I would actually put it that way. And you're right. Like there's no wasted scene. There's no wasted dialogue, because everything that is said and done progresses the story or progresses the character in some way. And it's just so neatly put together and so well put together that it seems almost like they weren't even trying. They're like, this is just how it's done. There you go. And they walked away kind of thing,
I 100% agree with that. And I think that's like the hardest thing to master, or like to even like try to attempt, is putting together something with so much like intention and thought behind it, but having it be viewed as something that like, oh, it just makes sense. Like it, like everything that's happening, like of course it's going to happen that way, that's just how it is, but it's like the amount of like planning, I'm sure, and like thought behind like, okay, why do they have to go there, or like why does this person have to get that item, or like what's this going to mean later. Like I don't know, I just love this movie for like how I keep using the word intentional, but I really do feel that way. Like just how everything is so intentional and like put together and feels so cohesive, and like, I don't know, it's just a really good story too. It's just a good story.
Yeah.
So like,
and like so much happened. Like this is not a long movie. It's what, an hour, like 45 minutes or something. And just so much stuff happens. Within like the first 5 minutes of the movie, where you meet everybody and you know everything about them in those 5 minutes, and you're just like I've known people for years and know less about them than in those 5 minutes that I know about these people. You know what I mean?
That was a great way to put it.
And you're just like, and these people are regular people, but you're so interested in them at the same time.
Exactly.
And you're like, I want to see this story. I want to know where they're going.
Yeah.
And then where they're going and where the story goes just keeps you with it without being like ridiculous or outlandish. Like they didn't just throw a wrench in somewhere for fun. You're like, no, this is purposefully happening so that this can happen with this family.
Exactly.
This can be done. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have nothing to say because we just agree with each other.
I know. For what? Wow. Maybe we should have started with this movie and
We should have
just only
started
talked
with
about this movie. I think. I think this was our movie. um, but yeah, no, I do completely agree with what you say. Like all jokes aside, like it's just beautiful, and I think like to make like such ordinary but like ridiculous, interesting people. That is so hard, you know, that's such a hard thing to do. And yeah, I felt very invested in like all of them. So I don't know. They knew what they were doing when they wrote that movie, let me just say.
Yeah, they did. And even like the way they edited it together, they just brought this like focus onto parts of it, like focus on areas and what they're doing and all this kind of stuff. And it just like made you like everybody better.
Yeah.
And it also felt like I know technically it's about Olive being Little Miss Sunshine or going there or whatever, but every person in this movie felt like the main character. Yes.
That's such a good observation. Because I think I felt that way, but you put it into words, so now it's like real, you know?
So what made you feel like each person was the main character? Like
I'm immediately like, no one was the main character. There was no characters. No, but I don't know. I think it's because everybody had like a struggle, or everybody had like some sort of flaw and some sort of want. And I think like it didn't even feel disproportionate. Like, okay, yeah, this person has like a smaller issue, but like the main character has the big issue. You know what I mean? It's like, it felt like everyone, it was like a pizza, you know? And I felt like everyone had like an equal slice. And that slice consists of flaws and desires and, you know, like character traits, like, and it all felt even though.
Yeah.
And I don't know how they even did that. Like, I genuinely, it's like magic. I don't know how they did that.
Yeah, I think it's part of like the editing and how they told the story. Like, I think each person had approximately like an equal amount of screen time.
Yeah.
Right. And an equal amount of urgency put on their character, even though some were louder than the other. Like, you know, Alan Arkin's character, like the grandfather, did a lot of yelling and he was louder while he was there.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like he never took over anything, right? So like there's a lot of scenes where he's yelling about something and the camera's not on him yelling. It's on the people reacting to what he's yelling. Right. So it kind of like splits the focus instead of being like, no, this is about this character. Like, no, he's yelling, but it's also about all of these people as well. You know, and I think them editing it together that way instead of like going from one person to the next person to the next person.
Right.
They made sure every scene was about the whole of the group instead of like one person in the group. Kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, there are a lot of shots where it's just like you see the whole family in one frame, you know?
Yes.
And I feel like how many things are there where it's like literally the whole cast in the frame? I feel like there were like maybe more shots. Do not fact check me. I will be wrong. I think there's like maybe more shots with like the whole cast in the frame than like with someone out of the frame, you know? Then was that English?
No, I get it. Yeah.
But again, do not fact check me because I will be wrong. But all that to say, like, yeah, I do feel like there were so many moments where we just saw like everyone interacting and everyone was like part of like what was going on. And I think, yeah, that helped in terms of like, oh yeah, equal screen time and feeling invested in everyone because we're seeing everyone. You know, it's like hard to be invested in a character if they're only on screen for like 2 seconds. And I feel like that's like my issue with some of the characters in A Little Princess as well. You know, I feel like especially with characters like Becky or the dad, like they were really only there when like it was very obvious when the plot needed like them or whatever.
Yeah.
But for this, it just felt like there was such an ease to it where it was like, oh, the characters like were there, but it didn't feel like, oh, they're there to serve a certain purpose necessarily. It was just like they're there because I don't know. I'm having trouble. Yeah.
I think it's they're there because like it reminded us that they were part of a family, they were part of a group.
Yeah.
And they're doing this whole thing together.
Yeah.
You know, and so even if it was one person wanting to do something, that one person is doing something, but all of them have to be part of that thing that they were doing. I think that's kind of what you're getting at, right?
Exactly. So then it's like when Sarah is saying to Becky, like, oh no, like you're my sister. Like, I do not believe you because like we barely see you two together. And when we see you, like the interaction is just so like
stunted.
Like there was like zero meaning, frankly, you know. But then when we see like, you know, Olive put her arm around Dwayne when he's having his like breakdown. And then that's the moment where he's like, okay, like, let's go. Or like, sorry, I didn't mean it. Like, that is more believable, even though they barely interact for the whole movie. Or like, you don't see moments like that between them. You can kind of understand like, oh, there's like genuine love there because we see them sort of like in the same vicinity and like smaller interactions that are more like deliberate and like are infused with more meaning than like just, I'll tell you a story, Becky. Oh my gosh, now you're my sister, you know? So like, yeah, I do think the dynamics they wrote for their characters were just like a lot better than, well, not to compare it. I just think it was great, you know? I think it was so honest and like, I don't know.
I think, you know, the brother and sister dynamic between Olive and Dwayne works really well because as we first meet Dwayne, he's like, I hate everyone, is what his statement is. But I think it's because everybody keeps trying to change him or keeps trying to tell him how to do things or what to do. Whereas Olive is not at that age yet. Olive is just, you know, accepting things and taking things in. And she's like, you know, be whoever you want to be. Just go out there. And I think the scene at the table where her dad's just like, you're going to get fat if you eat ice cream hurts so much because you're just like, she's just a little kid being a little kid.
Yeah.
Let her be a kid. And there's better and nicer ways to tell somebody, don't eat so much ice cream. Like, I think it's better to be like, no, you can't have ice cream than be like, if you eat ice cream, you're going to get fat. Like,
yeah,
you know,
like why even attach that
to it? That's how people have like eating disorders, or you know, people have like horrible self-esteem their whole life and all that kind of stuff. Like it's crazy. But I also think that's why that scene hits so hard, because you're just like, you know, now they're putting, because Dwayne isn't interacting with the parents, they're putting that pressure on Olive. And you're like, but Olive is like a perfect little girl. She's just sweet. She's nice. She wears her little red boots. She's happy. You know, she just wants to have a good time. And you are just like Miss Minchin, you're just shitting on her, you know, for no reason kind of thing. Right. Yeah. So it's mean.
It is mean. And I hated that actually. Like, I was like, oh, why even say that? And then like you see her later start struggling with like her body, and like when she asks the Miss California or whatever, she like asks her like, oh, do you eat ice cream or something, and like how happy she is that she does. Like why should a 6-year-old be worried about whether or not they should eat ice cream in that way? Like, that is so disgusting. So I think like the dad, I had the most problems with the dad for sure. He was like, I don't know. He triggered a lot of things for me. I'm like, oh, well,
because he's self-absorbed with his goal and not actually thinking about the people around him. Yeah. And there's a line in the movie where he says, what is it? He's like, something about luck.
Oh, like luck is something like losers take solace in, or something like that.
Something like that. And but the thing is, for success to happen, luck is a very important part of it.
Oh,
because
absolutely.
There are so many people who are great singers and great performers and great whatever, who are not, known worldwide, not making millions of dollars, not, living in big penthouses and all that kind of stuff. And it's not because they haven't tried, and it's not because they don't have the talent. It's because they weren't lucky enough to have that one person go, yes, I pick you. Let's do this,
Yeah.
And the same thing happens to the father in this. It's like, he could have been the next, Tony Robbins or something. Sure. But you have to have a publisher say yes to your book, and then get it put out in a bookstore, and then have somebody buy it for you to start that train. Like, yes, you wrote the book, which is great, but that's not the only thing that, puts you on that trajectory to success. There's lots of different aspects of it, and luck is a part of that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I wish you could like go into the movie and just like shake his head a little bit and just say exactly that.
Yeah.
Because he definitely like needs to hear it. I don't know. His like view on, winners versus losers or whatever.
Yeah. It was so aggressive and made no sense. Oh, and when Olive cried about not wanting to be a loser.
So upsetting. I'm like,
yes.
That is so upsetting.
I'm sorry, but Abigail Breslin, she's such a perfect Olive. Like, she was so good, and she was so genuine, and she was so sweet. And you're just like, yeah. And so when you got to like the actual beauty contest and you saw all these like girls dolled up and being all creepy and stuff, I was just like, ugh, why?
I know.
Why?
I know. It's gross.
Yeah.
It's so disturbing. Yeah. But it makes me think though, because like Olive's character is not that like, it's not so far off from like Sarah, because I feel like they're similar in the way where like, as opposed to having like flaws themselves, their struggles are more so like things happening to them and like how they have to deal with it. But it's like my ability to connect with Olive was like a million times like more real and better than my like ability to connect with Sarah. And I don't know. I don't even know exactly what it is. Like maybe it's just because Olive is more contemporary in general. So like the things she's like dealing with or like experiencing feel more familiar to me as opposed to like Sarah. Like maybe that's part of it. But I don't know. You know what? I think maybe it's like the way Olive interacts with family that I feel very like, I don't even know if it's like I can relate, but I can just empathize with, but it's, I felt a bit, I was like, oh, well, Sarah doesn't have family or no, but like, I'm just kidding. No, I think Sarah is like, well, she has friends, so I don't know. I
think you said it earlier on when you said Sarah comes across as a doll at the beginning, because she doesn't come across as a real kid. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. When you're young and you're a child, things happen to you. You don't get to do anything, right? That's just the way things are. Fine. But the difference between Sarah and Olive is that Sarah is, like you said, a doll. She's made up. Yeah. She's dressed up. She's got, perfect ringlet curls, all that kind of stuff. And, she's not having that same kind of interaction that Olive is having, right? Like Olive is out there. They're not rich. She's a perfect little girl. Yes. But perfect little girl doesn't mean you have to have ringlets and frilly dresses and stuff. You're just a happy kid. And she's just out there being herself. And things are happening to her as well. But I think it's more understandable on her side because she's more like down to earth. Because like if this was like, if Little Miss Sunshine was like a rich kid, who's getting on a plane with her parents to go to the thing and does get her hair done and spray tanned and stuff, this would be more like Little Princess, where you'd be like, well, she's like a doll and this is weird. Like,
Yeah.
different way, if you know what I mean.
Sorry, when you said Little Princess, I was like, yeah, I would call her Little Princess or something. But I was like, oh wait, that's like the title of the movie.
Yes,
like
it is.
it's literally called Little Princess. I think the titles are very fitting, Very fitting.
They are. I agree
Yeah.
with you. But
Yeah.
But yeah, there's just something about Little Miss Sunshine that I just like. By the end of the movie, I like all the characters and I like the journey that they've gone on. And I just hope Olive in this world grows up to be a happy kid.
Yeah.
Well, how old would she be by now? She'd be like, oh my God, she'd be like
gosh.
30.
30? Oh
well, no,
gosh.
she'd be like 22 or 23.
23. Okay.
23, yeah. Because she would have been like, the character in the movie is what, like 8? 7?
I thought she was like 6 for some reason. Maybe she's a bit older though.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
6 seems a little young.
And this was 16 years ago. So she'd be like 22.
Wow.
Yes. So, she'd be just getting out of college, starting her career. Hopefully she's happy and loves herself,
Yeah.
I don't know what the real Abigail Breslin is doing, but I hope she's happy too. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah. She was in another movie that I really liked, I think. I'm forgetting what it was though.
I know she was in Zombieland. She plays the sister.
Oh yeah, she was in that. That was good. Yeah.
I did enjoy those.
I guess she's just like good at playing sisters, huh?
Maybe. I don't
Yeah.
know. I honestly don't know what else she's been in. That's very true.
Yeah. Well, I mean, she like knocked it out of the park with this.
And I think that's what happens when you like start on the top and then you're just like, what? Oh yeah, she was in Definitely Maybe. Yeah, that's a cute movie. Not a lot of people have seen that movie. Don't worry. I won't hold that one against you.
Ooh, free pass.
Yes. But yeah, no, I don't think I've seen a lot of her film and she's been in a lot of things.
That's
I
good.
have not seen a lot of the things that she's done then, so never mind.
So I've been rewatching The Office and oh my gosh, like I think Steve Carell could do anything. I think he can do anything. I'm like convinced that like he can literally not even just play any role, but just do anything. Like he
can be an acrobat in Cirque du Soleil. Like what?
If I saw his name on like the headline, I genuinely would not be surprised. Because I'm so convinced that like there is nothing that man can't do. He is so incredible in this. And it's like such a departure from like what I'm used to seeing him in, which is like The Office, or hey, like I mentioned, Gru, Despicable Me. Like it's almost like, and I think what's most impressive is that I don't even feel like it's like I'm watching Michael Scott play, Yeah. You know how that is? Like with some actors, it's like, oh, I can only see them in this role though, even though they're playing other roles, but you can only see them in one. It's like, no, I could completely just see him as Frank in this movie. Like I didn't like attribute him to any of his past roles because he just embodied this role so well.
Yeah, like, I find a lot of actors don't change their mannerisms enough to change into the other roles that they get into. And so they end up just being whoever that you first saw them in another place, and you're like, oh
yeah, exactly. But no, with this it was like, that is Frank, and like I care about Frank, and like Frank is so interesting. And then I'll watch Office and be like, oh yeah, that's Michael Scott though, it's like I can completely separate them. And I think that is amazing because he does Michael Scott so well. Like I know it's a controversial opinion, but he does Michael Scott so well. Like, I know no one has that opinion except me. But I just think, like...
People love Michael Scott. What are you talking about?
No, I am the first person to say this. He is amazing as Michael Scott. You've heard it here, folks.
Oh my God. Yes.
But no, like, he's genuinely so good in that role. So to be that good and make it, like, be that iconic in that role... And for me to love the show as much as I do and watch it so much, but then to watch Little Miss Sunshine and not even think once about, okay, fine, maybe once, not even think like twice about Michael Scott. Yeah. Like, oh, that is just like a testament to his acting for me.
I have nothing to add to that because I completely agree with you.
Look at us, character growth.
I know.
Look at us
right?
agreeing.
I do want to bring up one other cartoon though. So so I watched this movie last night, and the whole time watching this, I was looking at oh my god, Dwayne, and I was like, Dwayne reminds me of someone, like the way he looks, how he's sitting, like his posture and everything. And I was like, who does he remind of? Who does he remind of? And like I go to bed and I'm like, I don't understand why, but also like I popped out of my sleep and I was like, oh, he looks like the son of the mayor. Now, that may not make any sense to you.
Horton Hears a Who?
Horton Hears a Who.
See, it makes sense to me because you know the type of movies I watch.
But what's so funny about that is that in that, Steve Carell plays the voice of the mayor as well. And I'm just like, what? But yes, so I found that really funny. I just thought I had to tell somebody or everybody and whatever.
Oh, tell everybody, because I think that's like a very good observation, because I'm picturing him in my brain and I'm like, oh yeah, that is
it's like the pull forward hair, over his face, dark black, doesn't really say anything the whole time till the
but then at the end goes or whatever. Isn't that in like porn?
Yeah, so they can get the sound out. It's amazing.
They're the same character.
Exactly. Oh my god. A couple of the things I noticed in this movie, there was a sort of Breaking Bad reunion in this movie, because Bryan Cranston shows up, and then Dean Norris shows up as the cop who pulls them over. Hank and what's his face in Breaking Bad?
Walter White.
Oh my god, my brain just went empty. Whew.
That's okay. I think both of our brains are having issues right now because I did not see Dean Norris in this movie at all.
What? You know the part where they have the body in the back and they get pulled over? That's Dean Norris. That's the cop.
I can probably receipt? Oh dear. My brain is truly broken. I can probably recite that scene by heart.
Yeah.
And the cop is not Dean Norris.
Yes, it is.
The cop is tall white guy. Question mark. What? I don't see Dean Norris. What?
But he looks and sounds exactly the same. What are you talking about?
I don't know. Maybe he just is. Maybe he is also just such a good actor. I don't even associate him with Breaking Bad. Like they're two separate characters. These are all original thoughts.
But was Bryan Cranston just Walter White then in the movie?
No, Bryan Cranston is Bryan Cranston. Like I think he is also similar to like Steve Carell, and where I feel like anything he's in, like I'll just believe it. I won't see his past. Yeah, I won't see his past there. But Dean Norris, I literally only know him from Breaking Bad, so there is a 100% chance I would have said that guy is from Breaking Bad, but I did not think that at all.
Did not.
No.
Who else showed up in this movie? There was Mary Lynn Ridgeskub. I don't know how to say her name. But
I don't know who she is.
If you see her face, you'd recognize her because she is one of those people who just does a bunch of things.
Oh, okay.
I think most recently people would remember her from 24. She was also in Punch Drunk Love. She was also in okay, sorry, I'm just remembering off the top of my head right now. My Sunshine. Oh yeah, she was in the Tomorrow War the other day. She did a few episodes of Always Sunny in Philadelphia. She was in Brooklyn Nine-Nine for a few episodes. Because she played Genevieve in Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
I did watch that show. I don't remember a character named Genevieve.
She was the white. Oh, okay, I'm not gonna. It's fine. Fine. She was. Let's see. Arrested Development, New Girl, Go. She's in tons. She's in so much stuff. I think if you looked her up and saw her face, you'd be like, oh, her. She's just in things. Yes.
Yeah.
And so what's the other guy's name that I saw? I was like, it's that guy who does that thing. His name was Wallace Langham. He was in CSI. That is where he's most known from.
Okay.
Yes. All right.
I have never seen an episode of CSI.
Okay,
that's fine. I'm gonna stop saying. I think I need to
that's
stop.
Fine. There's also
Mm-hmm.
okay. So when they at the end when they get to the pageant and the woman will not sign her in.
Yeah.
That woman's name is Beth Grant. And in every single movie, she plays that same bitchy, uptight, overly focused on the rules character. And every time I see her, she's probably the nicest person in real life, the sweetest, most lovely person in real life. But every time I see her face, I get angry. Just automatically happens.
Yeah.
Because she plays that same kind of character. And I'm just like, I hate you so much.
I think that's a compliment for her,
she does a great job at it. I can't fault her at that in any way, shape, or form. So
that being said, I hope you never meet her.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Also, one last comment about Little Miss Sunshine.
Yes.
So one thing I found really hilarious about the actual pageant, the girls are all creepy. Yes. But despite the fact that Olive does a full-on striptease on stage and dances, she is the least sexualized contestant on the stage, which I thought was hilarious.
Yeah. That's a really good observation, actually.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't really think about that until you said it, but it's true.
Yeah.
The other girls are just so disgustingly sexualized.
Yeah. Well, they're in their bikinis, they're sucking in their stomach, they're bronzed, they're made up, they're being very flashy and quote unquote flirty, which is ugh. I think that's why the whole scene comes across as creepy, but that's actually how pageants are. And
how is this legal?
I don't know. They say, people, they win prize money and it's for scholarships and it's for schools and it's for blah, blah, blah. But I mean, even when you watch Miss America and stuff, it is just so uncomfortable to look at because most of the stuff they're judging them on has nothing to do with their intelligence or anything that they've done. It has to do with does she look good in that dress? I hope so. That's it, that's what I get out of it. I don't know. Which is nothing. But I also find it really funny that she's the least sexualized, but she's the one that they have the most, they're get her off the stage. Oh my God, you're making a mockery of what we're doing.
Yeah.
Is she though?
Is she? It's oh no, those kids in who are all bronzed up and in bikinis, they can stay. That's fine.
Yeah.
But no, when this girl starts to dance that way, it's that's where you're drawing the line, really? I don't know.
I find that such a tricky scene to pull off, but they do it really well where they keep her looking innocent and everybody else being wrong. And I really like that part of it. And I think that's what makes the end of the movie so kind of positive and kind of uplifting, that the family comes together for this one purpose kind of thing.
Absolutely. No, I think the scene is made when the families start to join, Yeah. And I think that's when the warm fuzzies start to appear and you're oh, so sweet,
It's also such a fun song too. You're
Super Freak. What a choice. What a good
super
choice.
freaking. Yeah, it's fun.
And I think it's also interesting the way they had the scene happen without the grandfather, because part of me is I would I think usually in this sort of scenario I would have been there's I feel there's a lack of resolution because the guy who was helping her with this doesn't get to see, or whatever. I want to see that, but I feel not having him there, I don't know, somehow makes it better.
I think it's because I think it starts off very sweet because she dedicates it to him, which is great. But I think him dying makes the scene more poignant and,
For sure.
yeah.
And it's also just kind of hilarious because you're like, oh my gosh, like, of course this is the routine he's been helping her with. Like, this whole time you might have been expecting like something sweet or like something like whatever, maybe even like impressive. But it's like, no, like, of course that's what he was telling her to do.
Exactly.
And it just comes like full circle. You're like, okay.
This just makes sense. Yeah.
Exactly. And in that way, it is like he's there even though he's not there.
Exactly.
Because like he is the only one who would get his granddaughter to do this routine. So, and isn't that a beautiful thing?
It is very beautiful. It's wonderful. It brings the family together.
Yeah.
With their running start with their little VW bus. It's beautiful. Just
That's
beautiful.
hilarious too. Yeah. That's just like so good.
All I can say is, especially when they start running, I'd have been like 3 steps, out of breath. I'd be dead on the floor. Go on without me.
Yeah, no, I would have been with the mechanic, I think. I'll just stay here.
Yeah, can I wait it out until they come back? That's fine. Yeah.
Yeah.
So final thoughts on both of these movies?
Yeah. Little Princess, not my favorite, but top 3 Alfonso Cuarón movies to watch. Top 3. Little Miss Sunshine, honestly one of my favorites. Genuinely one of my top 10. Really enjoyed. And Little Women, greatest movie of all time. Everybody should watch this movie. It is incredible. No such thing as disappointment if you watch it. That is the 2019 version.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a good time though. I did, I did enjoy just like watching these movies and getting to have a good chat about them,
Yeah. Well, thank you for joining me. This was lots of fun.
This was so much fun.
Even though I disagree with you on Little Women, that's fine.
But
I do agree with you on Little Princess and Little Miss Sunshine. I'm giving Little Princess a little bit of a higher pass than you.
Okay.
They did say in there, and I agree with them, that all little girls are princesses. Yes. Be whatever kind of princess you want to be, or you are a princess and you should be treated that way. And in Little Miss Sunshine, they talk about like success and goals and the concept of like beauty and pressures put on not just by society but by people around you, and they deal with it so well, and it's not heavy-handed and so well put together, and it's just a great movie overall. So definitely Little Miss Sunshine. Yeah.
You know what? I think it's like a Little Princess says everyone is a princess, and Little Miss Sunshine says you are not a princess. And I think both messages are good.
Really? I disagree with you on that one.
Okay, please disagree. Continue.
I don't think Little Miss Sunshine says you are not a princess. I don't think that's what it says. I think it says, be you. That doesn't mean you're not a princess. It says you don't have to be someone else's version of
right
maybe what a princess is, but
right.
You could be any kind of you want to be.
But then here's my counterpoint.
Okay.
But then the saying isn't as catchy if you phrase it that way. So
yeah, that's true. Okay. I'm sorry I didn't give you a succinct sound bite. I apologize.
I think you should apologize to yourself, Tracy. I am just trying to dish it out, I'm trying to feed your lovely audience.
Yes. So okay. Give us your sound bite then.
Okay.
Give me a sound bite.
You're right. You know what? I can make it more succinct and also true.
Okay.
Both are equally important, I think.
Yes.
Okay, so Little Princess. Everyone is a princess. Little Miss Sunshine, you are not a princess unless you want to be, but then you're not a princess, and that's okay, but you might be a princess. I don't know.
Or maybe you're not just a princess.
Maybe you're not just a princess.
There you go.
And scene.
We did it.
You can totally edit that. Like, work that movie magic. I think we have something
all of that staying in. What are you talking about? We had to work to get there. It's fine.
And you know what? I think that is truly the beauty of this podcast.
Yes. Love it.
And scene.
Okay. Well, that's it for this episode of Off My Shelf. Until next time, you can follow along on Instagram and Twitter at ohmyshelf, or you can send an email to ohmyshelf@gmail.com. On the next episode, we'll be talking about Little Shop of Horrors and Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels. Hope you'll be here to listen.